So in a couple of minutes, we will start our session today entitled How to Teach Vocabulary. This session will be moderated by me, Nermeen Fathi, an English teacher and a trainer. It will be introduced by Ms. Sohair Mustafa. She is an English teacher, a supervisor, and a teacher educator. She is a Relo mentor and a technology trainer. She has a good experience with 2.0 education training, and she is a multi-TESOL presenter as well as ILACE presenter. Last and not least, she is an MA researcher. So we are so lucky to have her with us today to introduce this session entitled How to Teach Vocabulary. So let's start, Ms. Sohair, and welcome everyone.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Nermeen, for this lovely introduction. I'm really happy to be with you today, and I'm really proud of having such great teachers with us today. We hope you benefit from our session today, which will be on teaching vocab. So let's start. But let me check the voice. Is my voice clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Before we start, we need to agree on our pledge for today's session, which is the rules which we need to follow during the session today. Please be sure you are on the mute mode. Raise your hand when you want to speak. Questions at the end of the session, and finally participate and share your ideas and experience. What do you expect for today's agenda? Please write on the chat box what do you expect for today's agenda. What are the main ideas which we will talk about today?
So please write in the chat box, what do you expect for today's agenda? What do you expect to learn from today's agenda? So teaching, Ola says teaching vocab, Asma, ways of teaching, assessment, how to teach vocabulary, what is vocabulary, methods to teach vocabulary, techniques, new strategies, sharing new activities, how to teach, ways of teaching, presenting, the steps of introducing new vocab, motivation. Motivation is another session.
Yes.
So this is teaching vocabulary. So gaining new experience, new techniques for teaching vocabulary, definition of vocabulary, new trends to teach vocabulary, model lesson of teaching vocabulary, activities, strategies, aspects of vocabulary. We have such a wonderful group of teachers here.
You need 10 sessions to cover all these ideas. Okay. We have a game now. On the chat box, I will send you a link now. Just click on the link and start to rearrange the letters to form a sentence, or it's not a sentence mainly, but it will be the topic of our session today, or the main focus of our session today. So on the chat box, I will send you a link now.
So Ms. Sohair is sending you a link in the chat box. Please click on the link. It's a word wall activity.
Yes.
And start answering it. Okay.
The link is ready now. Just click on it and start. And when you finish, tell me the word, or tell me the sentence. Just click on the link and start to rearrange the letters to form words.
The letters like the ones on the screen?
Just click on the letter and
yes, and
move
arrange them so that
yes.
they form a word. Please, Ms. Zohar, can you send the link again?
Okay. Yes. Ms. Nermeen, I saw answers on the chat box.
Yes.
I can't follow well in my chat.
Okay, what are teaching vocabulary inductively, inductively. So most of them got the right answer. Hasna, Hane, and Iman, Manan as well, teaching vocabulary inductively. Yes, Asma, yes. Thank you for answering.
Teaching vocabulary inductively. Perfect. This is the main focus of our session today. Okay. So for today's session, we are going to talk about teaching vocabulary inductively, techniques to practice new vocab, techniques to increase students' vocabulary skills, and finally, activities using flashcards. These are the main ideas that we will focus on today. Before we start on the main focus, we need to know some definitions and terminologies that are related to teaching vocab. So we have here some terms and some definitions, and we need to match. Just write on the chat box. I'll say the definition and try to guess and write on the chat box the correct term. We have contextualization, register, target language, and collocation. We will start with the first one. These are the individual items of language that students need to learn or the teacher wants them to learn. What is the term of this definition?
Okay, we have to look at the definition given and give it the name. So the first answer here is collocation.
Individual items of language that students need to learn.
Collocation, Marian's collocation, Aya target language, Marwa target language, Sami target language. Most of them target.
Yes, target language is the correct answer. That's
so perfect. Target language is the correct answer. Thank you for sharing your answers.
These are words, the second definition, these are words which are often used alongside the new words. Words that are often used alongside the new words. What do you think?
So let's have an answer for the second definition. These are words which are often used alongside the new words. What are
Yes, collocations, perfect. Collocation.
Yes, this is the correct answer, collocation.
The third one, to put language items into a meaningful and real context. What do you think? What is the correct term?
Okay, we have the third definition. What do you think of the third definition? Contextualization. Most of the answers are contextualization.
Yes, that's perfect. Excellent.
Thank you for sharing your answers. You are
yes.
doing a wonderful job here.
The fourth definition is it's whether a word is informal or formal, and when you should or shouldn't use it. This is the last, yes. Yes, register.
The last one is
perfect.
Register. Yes. Thank you, guys.
It's complete. We still have. We have here 3 other definitions and terms. Concept checking questions, pre-teach vocab, and drilling. And we have 3 definitions also. The first one, it's listening to a model provided by the teacher or a tape, another student, and repeating what is heard. What do you think?
What do you think is the first definition? Drilling.
Yes, perfect.
Drilling. Someone is
Good
saying
job.
Pre-teach. We have drilling. Okay.
Drilling, to listen to a model and repeat. Listen and repeat. This is drilling. Okay, the second one, these are a set of questions designed to ensure comprehension of the target language. What do you think?
Okay, concept checking, CCQ, concept checking.
Yes, perfect.
CCQ.
Yes, perfect. This is CCQs, which are concept checking questions. These are questions that are asked to students to check their understanding of the idea itself, the concept itself, to be sure that they have the idea, not the word. If I want to teach them the word elephant, I need to be sure that they know that elephant is an animal. It's not food. It's not color, and so on. So these are some questions that we need to check. We need to ask to check the students' understanding to the concept or the idea itself.
The last one, to teach new words
Yes.
first before teaching the main topic, is pre-teach vocabs. Yes.
Yes.
You've got the correct answer for most of the definitions. Thank you for sharing your answer, guys. You are doing a wonderful job.
Yes, that's perfect. You are really brilliant teachers. Okay. So we have here the term and the definition. If you want to revise. Thanks, my dear. Previous slide. Okay. Just 4 seconds. We have a pool now. We have a questions and you need to answer.
Okay, look at the question on the screen and start start answering it in the poll. Are you going to send the link?
No, just a minute. Okay. You can answer on the chat box. Do you teach vocabulary inductively?
Yes, most of them already answered in the chat box. They are very fast.
Okay.
Most of them,
Okay.
yes.
If you
some answers of sometimes.
Okay. If you know in that right, yes. If you don't know, the method itself, or if you don't know how to define which type of method you use, you can write on the chat box. I don't know.
Yes, we already have an answer. What is inductive? I'm not sure what is inductive. Or what do you mean by inductive? I don't know. So please explain it. So this is the topic of our session today. Okay.
Yes, that's great. Okay. We have a video. We will watch it now, but before we watch the video, we need to discuss some questions. If you want to speak and share, please raise your hand. If you don't want to speak, write the answer on the chat box. Let's start with the first question. According to which criteria do you choose the vocabulary that you need to explain to your students? How do you choose the vocabulary? If you want to teach them a text, sure, you will choose some vocab. How do you choose them? On which criteria? If you want to share, please raise your hand. If you want to participate and speak. No hands.
We have some answers here according to, some say according to familiarity, according to core vocabulary, according to their level, using pictures, the blocking words, according to the text, related to the topic, put them in black colors, core concept given in the text through context, related to the topic. So most of them agree that we choose the vocabs according to the topic given or the text that we are teaching, or the vocabs that are blocking understanding.
So we need to teach the key vocabs that help students to understand the main ideas or the main topic of the text, for example.
We have,
we have here
Mariam Amir. I think she would like to share. Yes, Mariam, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, the same answers at the same level. We have to teach the vocabulary according to, depending on the student's level, and also depending on their familiarity, and how this would be easy for them or not according to their level.
Okay, great.
We have another hand. Now, Marwa Saif. Please, yes. Marwa, unmute yourself.
All right, Miss, I'm here. Thank you. As far as I'm concerned, I believe that teaching vocabulary is sometimes a must in an ELT context, actually, because, for example, if I'm teaching my students in reading or listening, so some words obstacle their way of understanding the whole thing or doing this job or task. So it's a must for me to introduce the words that are difficult, new, unfamiliar to them, words that I know that they do not know. So I have to present them first. task, activity, or the process I'm adopting in this teaching process. So this is all.
Thank you, Marwa.
Thank you.
That's perfect.
Murad, we have Murad Huwaidi. Please unmute yourself.
So hello everybody, I would like to share in such fantastic session by you. So as my dear colleague Ms. Moore said, I can use Vocab just to teach according to the teaching strategies that I'm going to use. So according to it, I may use the KWL or I may use the Gigso, but of course the focus here can't be on the hard words or the key words on the lesson. And thank you so much.
Mr. Murad, where are you from?
Mr. Murad, can you unmute yourself again, please?
Yes.
I'm
Where are you
proud to
from?
Where are you from, Mr. Murad?
be here.
Sorry?
From Damanhur over here.
Damanhur.
Damanhur.
Welcome.
Damanhur, welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thanks
Way.
a lot.
We
Thanks
have,
for sharing.
Mona, Muhammad, Amin, sorry, unmute yourself,
Yes.
please, Muhammad.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
Okay. I want to reply to my friend who said that teaching vocabulary is very important. We know that teaching vocabulary is very important, but the question is not about this. It is about which vocabulary would you choose to teach, not all the vocabulary. Especially we face this in the secondary stage. Which vocabulary, which criteria would you define the vocabulary? We cannot teach all the vocabulary in one lesson. So what criteria we are choosing? As my colleagues said, we will choose the ones very important, relevant to, and the familiar ones to them are not, will be neglected, of course. This is the questions. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Okay, one last participation, only one last participation. Ms. Marwa Farag. Yes, can you unmute yourself, please?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead, go ahead.
My colleague said, okay. As my colleague said, if I teach a vocabulary, it should be related to the subject or related to the topic. And of course, to increase and maximize their vocabulary stock to can speak and express their ideas and opinion. So it enhances the speaking skills as well.
Yes, perfect. Thanks a lot for your
Thank
participation. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
I agree with you all. We need to choose
Okay,
the
let's
keywords,
move on, Miss
the most.
Yes, thank you all for your participation and your comments in the chat box or that you shared with us.
Okay, let's move on to the second question. Do you teach such new words in the same order as they show up in the lesson? Or do you teach all of them at once?
Okay, let's answer.
Do you teach
You
them?
teach new words in the same order as they show up, or just all of them at once? All or
The
as
same order, in the same order? No, what do you mean by no? In the same order or all of them at once?
the same order or all? The same order or all? Okay, most of them are saying in order, in the same order. All, Ola said all. This is unique.
In the same order, it means one by one, according to its appearance.
According to the text.
All of them means I write them all on the board, start explaining them in an isolated way without the text itself. It depends.
Okay, we have Amani. Amani Abdelwahed. Can she participate, Ms. Soya?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Go on, Amani.
Okay, unmute yourself, please, Amani. Ms. Amani, speak. Okay, let's move on. All right. So most of the answers.
Mr. Shaban.
Yes, Mr. Shaban.
Mr. Shaban, can unmute yourself and speak.
Unmute yourself, please, Mr. Shaban. Yes, okay.
Yes, I think that teaching the words in the same order of the text is more effective because مثلا they can come in their context so they can be more understandable and so in their context and in this inside the idea.
Thank you, Mr. Shaban. Thank you
for sharing.
We have Nasser Zakaria. Please unmute yourself, Mr. Nasser.
Okay, good evening all. I think teaching words in the same order is better, much better than writing them all on the board at first. This wastes the teacher's time and distracts the student. So it's much better to explain them in the same order as in the lesson.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nasser.
To focus on the lesson. Thank you.
We have a different answer here from Safa. She says that according to the familiarity or according to the familiar words. So you think you should start with the familiar words to the students and teach them before other words.
The main focus here is on the new words. The new words, not the familiar words. So if you have new words, that students don't know, and you need to introduce them. So how will you start introducing? Will you start introducing them at once, writing them on the board, all of them, and start to explain one by one, or you start to explain one by one according to their appearance on the text or in the book?
Yes, I see most answers are in the same order of the text.
Yes, that's perfect. Okay. If your answer to the last question was the later option, which is all of them at once, at which stage of the lesson do you usually do that? If you decide to teach the vocab all of them at once, when will you start to teach them? At which stage of the lesson do you usually do that?
So when you teach them all at once, which stage of the lesson? Which stage of the lesson? You start teaching them all at once. We have
before, if you want to teach, sorry, Ms. Nermeen, if you want to teach a text or a reading text, when will you start to teach the new vocab? If you decided to start to teach them all of them at once, when? Before teaching the text, after, or during?
Okay, I see here answers. The presentation stage, after reading the text, last stage in the warm-up, pre-stage, presentation, after the text, before teaching the text. So we have varied answers. Some see it before.
You need to start pre-teach vocab.
Yes, pre-teach
vocab. You need to start first by teaching students the difficult and the new words, and then give them the main idea about the text, and then start to read the text or ask them to read and answer some questions during reading. You can't ask them to read the text without presenting the new vocab or new structure. How can they understand the text? So you need to start first, teach vocab, and then do what you want to do. Okay. The last question. What about eliciting meaning? Eliciting meaning is a stage of presenting the word itself. We will talk about it later on. Explain the techniques that you prefer to use to present and teach a new vocab. What technique do you use to explain the new vocab?
Eliciting, giving them exercise to be sure they understood the meaning of the words. Ask students to put the new word in a sentence, brainstorm during the lesson, matching, mind maps, brainstorm again.
Misconceptions between presenting new vocab and practice and drilling. We have different stages of presenting vocab. How do you present the new vocab? Today I am going to talk about animals, and I will present new vocab related to animals. Cat, dog, elephant. How can I present the word elephant? This is the question. How can I present the word elephant?
They have flashcards, body language cards, contextualization, images, pictures, flashcards again, cards, pictures.
Okay, so we have a video now. This video is a very simple one. It will explain how to present vocab inductively. But during watching the video, you need to answer this question. What aspect of vocabulary does the presenter advise to focus on first when teaching a new vocab? The meaning or the form? And why? So during watching the video now, you will need to identify which aspects do you need to focus on first, or do you need to introduce first, meaning or form? Just watch the video and then decide according to the video or according to the inductive.
Answer according to the video. You have to watch the video first. Okay? How to teach vocabulary.
Yes.
Okay.
When it comes to teaching vocabulary in your English classroom, you'll find that you have lots of different opportunities and lots of different methods for doing so. One of the most common opportunities for teaching vocabulary is pre-teaching before giving a text or listening. So it's very common for you to choose a handful of words from that text that'll help them understand the text, that'll be new words for them, and pre-teach them before exposing the learners to that text. There's a lot of different ways to teach that vocabulary, and I'm someone who believes in teaching vocabulary and grammar inductively. And what that means is focusing on the meaning before focusing on the form. So let's look at the general best practices for teaching vocabulary inductively. When attempting to pre-teach vocabulary inductively, there are 6 basic steps that you'll need to follow. The first step is to choose the words. So you'll be looking at the text you're going to use as input in your presentation stage. You'll choose a handful of lexical items, which can be words or groupings of words that you want to focus on, that you want to pre-teach. And these would be things that would either be new for the learners need to practice, and hopefully that will help them with their comprehension of the text. The second step is to take an individual word or lexical item and try to elicit it. So you're going to use miming, images, realia, or maybe try to discuss the meaning to see if the learners can kind of guess the word that you're trying to teach. And you can kind of also give them hints about the sound, the first letter, start to say the word.
Does anyone know what this is? Have you seen this before? It's the Washington Monument. All right. So I have another word. Fine. Oh. What did I just do? Yeah, I saw it, but so I saw it, I didn't see it, and then I saw it. It starts with an N. Notice.
Recording in progress. The pencil. Yeah, to notice something. It means to see something, or you can hear it, or you can smell it. You did not do that before, and now you do. You notice it. So one more word. This. What is this? Does anyone know? Starts with a P. My pants. These are my pants, and this is a pocket.
Recording in progress.
So let's now, is it over, Ms. Sohair? Yes?
No. There is a technical issue. Wait.
Can you share the link for the video if you have a link?
Many times. So this is an example of a monument.
Is it okay now?
Okay, can you repeat after me? Monument. Good. Monument. 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 Good. I noticed it. Okay, repeat after me. Notice. 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 Pocket. Good. Pocket. 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 The fourth step, you should prepare in your mind or written some concept check questions. And these are questions that contain the target word. They're simple questions, usually yes or no. They can be open, but they're designed to get the learners to hear the word in context many times and to process the meaning over and over again. Do you know other monuments in the United States? Yeah. Mount Rushmore. Good. Mount Rushmore is a monument. All right. Are there monuments in your hometown? Do you notice anything different about me today? Did anyone notice? Yeah, I shaved. I had more hair on my face yesterday. Thank you for noticing that. Do you notice anything different about the room today? When you came in, did you notice? Yeah, we moved some of the chairs. Good, you noticed that. I noticed that Ahmed is sitting in a different place. He normally sits back in the back, and now he's over here. I noticed that when I came in the room. Does anyone have a shirt with a pocket? Yeah, okay. I see you have a pocket and you have a pocket. Yeah. Step 5 would be after that, you've said the word, you've elicited it, you've repeated it many times, you've done the concept check questions, go ahead and write it on the board clearly. And sometimes I like to use different colors for different parts of speech. A monument. And we have A because it's countable. 1 monument, 2 monuments. Yeah, good. All right, so that's a verb. So I'm going to write it in red. To notice. And I'm going to put something. Because we usually notice something. We'll put it right here. A pocket. Yeah. Step 6, repeat these steps for all of the words on your list. You'll do these one at a time and you'll go through the list. And so that is one method of teaching vocabulary inductively. I encourage you to use that to pre-teach vocabulary for your presentation stage input. You'll find when you use it in the classroom, it's very dynamic, it's very engaging for the learners. You'll also find that it's very easy to work in all 5 of Freeman and Freeman's facets of understanding: the phonological, the morphological, the syntactic, the semantic, and the pragmatic. So I encourage you to experiment with this method when pre-teaching vocabulary in your language classroom.
Okay.
Now let's have some answers in the chat box. Did he focus on the meaning or the form? Some say that both form and meaning. Some say form and meaning together, meaning both, meaning meaning.
When he
Effective way is a short lesson. Meaning. Okay, most of them say meaning and some say both. Some ask for the link for the video, Ms. Suhair, if you can share it. Okay.
Okay, we'll share it on WhatsApp groups. For the questions, what aspect of vocabulary does the presenter advise to focus on first? Sure, we'll focus on both meaning and form, but first, what should we focus on, meaning or form, according to the video?
Meaning. Most of them say meaning.
Yes, perfect. Meaning. He starts with focusing on the meaning, and then at the end he starts to use colored pens, colored markers to differentiate between forms, whether it's a verb, a noun. Okay. How did you find the video? I want to hear from you. How do you find the inductive way? Is it good or bad? Is it applicable or not?
Do you like using the inductive way in teaching vocabs?
Can you apply it easily?
So most of them say yes, it's interesting, it's beneficial, wonderful, applicable, very good. They can apply it in class.
Okay. How many stages of presenting new vocab, new words according to the inductive way? How many stages? There are 6 steps. Okay. We have here 5 steps, and we need to put them in order according to the video. No, they are not 3 stages, they are 6 stages. Mainly they are 5, and the 6th one is to repeat all these 5 with another words. So we need now to arrange these
arrange
steps.
them. Okay, what's the first step? Which of these is the first step? Write in the chat box.
In order, you can write the letter, just the letter A, B, C, D, or E.
G, E.
Yes.
E is number 1. Mostly E is number 1.
Yes, E is number 1. You need to choose words first.
Yeah.
Choose the words that you need to introduce first. Choose 8 words. You need the ideal number of vocab that you can teach per lesson is from 4 to 8, according to your students. So you need to choose the words first, and then
what's the second step?
Let's agree on something. The first step will be E. Okay. The second, which one? Just write one by one, please.
Yes, we have answers. C.
Yes, C. First, choose words and then start to elicit. The third step. The third step
is, some say D. D. Most of them say D.
Now, Do you need to watch the video again? Do you need to watch the video again? Just write one on the chat box if you need to watch the video again.
Third step is B. B.
Okay. The first step will be choose 8 words to pre-teach. Okay, do you need to watch the video again? So we'll re-watch the video again, but please be more focused on the stages.
Can you send the link in the chat box so that if they have a slow connection, they can watch on their own?
I will send it after the session. I don't have it
Okay,
now.
all right.
So I will send it on WhatsApp, on all the WhatsApp's group. Now we will share the video again, please, and we'll focus just only on the stages of the teaching use the inductive way.
Vocabulary inductively. When attempting to pre-teach vocabulary inductively, there are 6 basic steps that you'll need to follow. The first step is to choose the words. So you'll be looking at the text
First,
you're going to
choose
use
the
as
word.
input in your...
Choose the word before class. Choose the word before entering the class. Decide what words will you present today. This is the first step.
Presentation stage, you'll choose a handful of lexical items, which can be words or groupings of words that you want to focus on, that you want to pre-teach. And these would be things that would either be new for the learners need to practice, and hopefully that will help them with their comprehension of the text. The second step is to take an individual word or lexical item and try to elicit it. So you're going to use miming, images, realia, or maybe try to
the second
discuss
step
the meaning.
is to elicit words. Try to explain the word using different types of techniques and strategies. You can use realias, images, miming, and so on.
To see if the learners can kind of guess the word that you're trying to teach, and you can kind of also give them hints about the sound of the first letter. Start to say the word.
Does anyone know what this is? Have you seen this before? It's the Washington Monument. All right. So I have another word. Fine. Oh. What did I just do? Yeah, I saw it, but so I saw it, I didn't see it, and then I saw it. It starts with an N. Notice. I noticed the pencil. Yeah, to notice something. It means to see something, or you can hear it, or you can smell it. You did not do that before, and now you do. You notice it. So one more word. What is this? Does anyone know? It starts with a P. My pants. These are my pants, and this is a pocket.
The third step will be, once they've guessed the word or you've had to tell them the word, to repeat that word many times and to have the students repeat them. You can do that chorally, whole class repetition, and then individually call on them to repeat the word. You're saying it nice and loud, repeating it many times.
So this is an example of a monument. Okay, can you repeat after me?
After eliciting the word and explaining the new words, you need to ask students to listen and repeat, to check pronunciation. Listen and repeat. They can repeat individually or in groups or the whole class according to the activity itself.
Good. Monument. 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 Good, good. I noticed it. Okay, repeat after me. Notice. 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 Pocket. Good. Pocket. Pocket. Pocket.
The fourth step, you should prepare in your mind or written some concept check questions. And these are questions that contain the target word. They're simple questions, usually yes or no. They can be open, but they're designed to get the learners to hear the word in context many times and to process the meaning over and over again.
Do you know other monuments in the United States? Yeah. Mount Rushmore. Good. Mount Rushmore is a monument. All right. Are there monuments in your hometown? Do you notice anything different about me today? Did anyone notice? Yeah, I shaved. I had more hair on my face yesterday. Thank you for noticing that. Do you notice anything different about the room today when you came in? Did you notice? Yeah, we moved some of the chairs. Good, you noticed that. I noticed that Ahmed is sitting in a different place. He normally sits back in the back and now he's over here. I noticed that when I came in the room. Does anyone have a shirt with a pocket? Yeah, okay. I see you have a pocket and you have a pocket.
So start with choosing vocab, elicit, repeat, checking concept, checking the questions to check their understanding of the concept itself. And finally, the last step.
Step 5 would be after that, you've said the word, you've elicited it, you've repeated it many times, you've done the concept check questions, go ahead and write it on the board clearly. And sometimes I like to use different colors for different parts of speech.
So choose 8 words to pre-teach. This is the first step. The second step will be elicit words and then repeat words. Ask concept checking the questions, and finally write the word on the board. So don't start with writing the whole words on the board and read them and ask the students to listen and repeat. And this is the traditional way. But the inductive way is to start with eliciting words and then ask the students to listen and repeat to check their pronunciation. After that, ask them some concept checking questions to check their understanding, and finally write the word on the board. This is the last step. And then start to do these steps again with another word. Got it?
Yes, we have so many correct answers.
That's perfect. Okay. Which of those techniques? We have here 5 techniques. Okay, that's great. We have here 4 or 5 techniques.
Which of these techniques, can you write on the chat box, please? Which techniques of these in the video have you already tried?
Yes. Miming, realia, eliciting. Perfect. Have you tried asking concept checking the questions?
We have all. Mona says all of them, most
Perfect.
of them. Images, realia, yes.
Great. That's perfect. Let's move on another part of today's session. How do you elicit words? The first step is to elicit words. What do you mean by eliciting? What's the meaning of the word elicit?
Can you type in the chat box what do you think is eliciting mean? Guessing, choosing, guess the meaning, explaining, guessing. So most of them say guessing. Explain in simple way, show what the word mean, share ideas, slept. What is slept?
How do you elicit words means how do you explain and present the new words? How do you present the new words? Which way do you use? Which technique do you use to explain the meaning of the new words? Yes, that's perfect. We have here raised hands.
We have
Ayman.
great. We have using flashcards, teaching aids, using pictures, asking questions. Wow. Using flashcards again, Realia.
Perfect.
Any means or tool that makes the words simple. Yes, someone would like to share, Mr. Ayman Ata. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, hello. I'm not Mr. Ayman. This is my brother's number.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
I'm Sarata. I want to say this, please. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. First of all, to have a notice that this is my name, Sarata. Okay. And how do I elicit words? I elicit new words through videos, flashcards, miming, realia, giving them a situation, and so on like this.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And now we have Mr. Muhammad Amin. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, eliciting means like generating or extracting the answer, whether it is a grammar rule or words or vocabulary from the student himself. And this can happen through many ways, through pictures and miming, through many things that my friends said now.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
great.
Muhammad. Miss Amani, can you unmute yourself, please? Amani Muhammad.
Yes. 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 I think there are. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Welcome.
Okay. I think there are some many techniques to teach vocabulary. First, we can use pointing using flashcards or PowerPoint presentation to show an item to teach. Number two, substitution, like using synonyms or antonyms, which when you use synonyms, for example, we substitute one word with which familiar with to the students with another word, or we can use antonyms, which is to substitute one word students are familiar with for its opposite, like cheap, expensive, something like that. Number three, we can use naming. We set a scene or a situation, then substitute it with a new word or a phrase. And this will be effectively naming the scene. For example, this is a steak was undercooked, rare, well done, something like that. Also by using miming and Tpr, which is total physical response. It works well with when we use the parts of the body action, imperative commands. Also using realia, using it can motivate young learners, especially to learn. It's fun and sets a more natural learning environment. Also, we can teach vocabulary by giving definition, or through pictures, or using an object itself, the real object itself. Some way is, which is the easiest way, is by presenting new word by its translation, and it is the easiest way, translation. Teacher can use a physical movement to react to verbal input through Tpr method, which is like teaching language or vocabulary concepts by using physical movement to react to verbal input.
Thank you, Miss Amani. That was a lots of strategies and tools to use.
You are welcome.
It was very beneficial. Thank you for your.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
Do we have time to have one more participant, Miss Suhail? Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Murad, please unmute yourself.
Yes, Mr. Murad, go ahead.
So hello, Miss, and gladly just to share my word in this. So Elicit, from my point of view, just a way to explain English by English, not as a way used in Egypt, bilingual, I mean translation, but this way is used, of course, thanks to the high number of the students around us. But here, let's go to the original way to teach English, Elicit. So I can use, of course, just story. So I use such a strategy when I was teaching hand in hand, and the three little goats and the wolf, and then the students were just taking role play just to know who is the goat, the victim in another way if he was a high achiever one, and who is just the tyranny, the wolf. So open the door. So just the wolf saying so, and the goat gonna say no, no. So this is one way just to elicit the meaning and the role play. And of course, we have got realia, we've got just a new other way, just the KWL, what I know, what I want, new, I want to learn. And we've got just Jigsaw also. And this is gonna elicit vocab through the ideas shared by the students. So elicit here, just from my point of view, just a way to teach English by English to as a way to captivity of negativity, just to let the students speak English, just to raise the spoken English in Egypt, not written form. And thank you so much for your good
Mr.
look.
Murad. Thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
very beneficial. Thank
You
you.
have covered, you are covered all what I want to say.
Yes, yes, we can move on, Ms. Weir.
Yes, okay. So for eliciting, you have much and much ways and method to elicit words or to elicit new vocab. So we have here some examples, as you have said: flashcards, drawings, miming, realia, definition, discussing meaning, stories, and so on. And we have different types of techniques and ways to elicit words from students. Just to, as Mr. Murad said, just to help students to speak and to teach English without using Arabic, teach English with English. English is English. Okay, let's move on to techniques. Techniques to practice new vocab. Not to teach new vocab. I have already taught my students new vocab, and now I want them to practice.
Okay, can you write on the chat box what you think about ways of practicing new ideas, new vocabs, sorry, or techniques to practice new vocabs? Yes, we have some answers here: drilling, wall picture, flashcard, drilling, puzzle, role play, give example, puzzle, matching, use it in a sentence, put them in new sentence, miming, matching to let them give me the opposite. Yes, writing short sentences, repetition, games, crossword, discussion, using in a sentence, games, songs, crosswords, fill in, matching, writing sentence, put in a sentence.
That's enough.
Wow. We have some brilliant teachers here.
Yes. We don't need to do this session. They are really perfect here. Okay, I have collected some ways that are easily to use inside the classrooms without any need to extra effort or extra materials or extra preparation. You just need to ask students to do simple things to be sure they have practiced and understood your target language or target vocab. The first activity here, or the first technique here, is guided word sorting. It's a kind of categorizing. Ask us to give students a list of words and give them a list of words and ask them to categorize them according to what do you want, according to numbers, colors, food, animals. And this helps students to develop an understanding of new words as they group them into categories. Just give them a list of words and ask them to categorize whether individual or in groups according to your class, according to the class numbers, whether they are small numbers or large numbers, according to your atmosphere inside the classrooms. The second technique is word fixes. Do you know word fixes? This is a technique of practicing vocab. If you know, just write on the chat box if you know this technique or not. Just write 1 if you know it, and write 2 if you don't know. Just
I
1 or 2. It's okay. Okay. For word fixes, you use the target vocab incorrectly in a sentence and ask students to correct them. Just write the word incorrectly or use the word incorrectly in a sentence and ask students to correct the mistake. You can choose 1 or 2 students to write the correct sentence with the correct words on the board and ask them to repeat a lesson. Ask the other class to listen to the correct sentence and repeat it.
Someone is asking for an example.
For example, if you teach them adjectives, you can say the elephant is small. The elephant is small. The word here small. Is the elephant small? No, the elephant is big. So you choose 2 or 3 students to write on the board the correct words. See, the elephant is big. The elephant is big. And then read the sentence loudly and ask students to listen and repeat. Got it?
Does that answer your question? The one who asked it for any example. Is it clear now? Yes, okay. Yes.
You can adapt. You can write the word in an unscrambled way. For example, as you have written on the chat box, you can write the word itself, the letters with misspelling, and ask students to write the correct words. You can adapt the activity according to your aim. If for my examples, I need my students to know the difference between adjectives, the word small and the word big. So I put the word small with in an inappropriate sentence. So they will think about small, the word itself. But if I want to check the spelling, I can write the words with misspelling or mistakes in spelling and ask them to rewrite the word correctly. This is according to the aim of my activities, according to the learning outcome. What do I need to check? The spelling or the using the word itself? No, I don't mean old one. Wrong spelling, wrong usage of the word itself, wrong place. I can, for example, use adjective instead of adverb. Noun instead of the verb. The use of the word itself. How to use the word correctly. Got it? Okay, perfect. How do you find this activity? Will you try it, inshallah? Is it applicable? Can you try it with your students?
Can you try these strategies? Okay, yes.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Another activity to practice a new vocab is make mind maps. I think most of you familiar with mind maps. It's a very good example of eliciting vocab and eliciting ideas. If you teach writing and ask students to write a paragraph or write a sentence, even according to their level, you can use mind map to help them to brainstorm and eliciting ideas from them. So mind mapping involves the use of colored pencil or colored sheet of papers according to your ability. Okay. Do you have any other activities that you can use to practice new vocab?
Just type in the chat box if you have other strategies to use.
Yes, word web, good, games, SWOT activity, perfect. This is NTTPN.
SWOT is a very good way.
Yes, perfect.
And
Jigsaw, puzzle, word family. Yes,
yeah.
we have different kinds of activities, but I try to collect the easiest and unfamiliar ones. Yes, that's perfect. Activities that we can use without any need to preparation or any need to using extra material. Just use flashcards. We have different
And
types
it
of activities.
doesn't consume time as well.
Yes, we have different types of activities that can be used with flashcards. We have drilling activities, we have memory activities, identification, and Tpr activities. There are 4 types of activities that we can use. All you need is using flashcards. I have an example for each one of them, but we can listen from you if you have. What do you think? Do you have any activities that you can use using flashcards as a drilling activities?
Write in the chat box games that you can do with flashcards or activities that you can
into
do.
English. Yes, this is grouping, matching pictures with, okay, point and say. But point and say, I think so. It's more related to Tpr activities. Matching.
Maybe running dictation as well.
Yes, I'm not sure. But running, I think it's related more to Tpr activities. Tpr because they need to move and go and.
Yes, for kinesthetic learners.
Yes. Okay, let's see mine. Invisible flashcards. Do you know it? We have 9 flashcards on the board and start pointing and read, and students repeat, listen and repeat. By pointing, you need to point and then gradually remove one of these cards or one of the flashcards and continue drilling and ask students when you come to the blank space or the empty or the place where the flashcard was, just point and nod your head and ask students to remember what is the missing word. Got it?
Did you get that activity? Yes or no?
9 flashcards on the board. Start pointing to each one and ask students to listen and repeat. Point and then listen, and you as a teacher point and they listen and repeat, and gradually remove one card and ask students when you come to the empty place or to where the card was, ask them to remember the missing words. No, it's not an scrambling. They don't need to rearrange the cards. You just need to remember the missing one. For memory activities, we have here memory tester. Memory tester, just to put some flashcards on the floor and in a circle or whatever, and ask students, give them 1 minute to look at these pictures or these flashcards and to ask them to remember as much as they can, and then they return back to their groups and start to write words as many as they can remember. The winner will be the one with the biggest number of words. This is called memory tester. No, you shouldn't close your eyes. You will have 1 minute to look at all the cards on the floor and ask them then to return back to their places and to their groups and start to write as much as they remember. Another activity for identification. Reveal the word. Do you know it? Reveal the word. Just write on the chat box if you know this activity. Just write one. Write one on the chat box if you know reveal activity, reveal the word activity or technique. Write two if you don't know. Write one if you know, if you are familiar with this activity. Write one if you don't.
We have lots of tools here,
but we have one. So
only one.
One. Okay. For reveal activity, we have a flashcard. You have a flashcard with a picture, and you try to reveal, cover it with a paper or with another flashcard, is an empty one, and try to reveal it gradually and ask students to guess which picture, what is this picture referred to. And then when the card is showing and they get manage to guess the word or guess the words correctly, you start drilling. You start asking them to listen and repeat with different tones of voice. For example, cat, you can say cat, 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 different tones and different intonations, and they will imitate your voice automatically. This is what we call reveal the word, and this helps them to remember the meaning of the word because it's a picture and they have to say the word itself. This is a very good game. They like it very much. I wish you could try it. This helps your teacher to check their memorization, whether they know the word of the word of the picture or not. This is a very good one. Got it or not? Write one if you got it, if you understand the idea of this activity. Just write one on the chat box. It's perfect. Okay, for TPR activities, refers what does TPR refer to? What does TPR refer to? Or does TPR
write in the chat box?
What is the abbreviation? What does this abbreviation refer to? Yes, total physical response. That's perfect.
Yes, Ms. Marwa, it's a slow reveal. Yes, it's another different name for the memory game. And most of them are saying total physical response with TPR. Yes.
Yes, that's perfect. TPR activities, they are activities that related much to moving and doing activities that are related to sometimes they can be miming, pointing, stand up, sit down, go and touch, run and touch, something like that. We have here, you can ask your students to you can stick to the class and ask the students to point to the words according to what they will listen to, what they hear. If you have a space in your classroom, you can ask the students to go to run and touch, and this will be more appropriate for small classes. Or if you have a larger class, you can ask them just to stand up and point to the correct flashcards or to the correct picture. And then starting to drill. Yani after finding the correct picture, the correct flashcard, you start to drill. Yani always try to drill and to try to help them to practice. You can, after doing this activity, you can ask some volunteers to take your role to be a teacher and choose the words that they need to point to or to run and find it. This is for TPR activities. Okay. And do you have any other activities or techniques you use to practice or to do you use with flashcards? Think and act strategy. Okay, perfect. Any other activities? If you have any other activities, just write them in the chat box. Storytelling. Storytelling. Yes, this is for practicing. Can I ask students to write a story or to say a story? What do you need? How can you use storytelling to practice vocab? Information gap, that's perfect. Synonyms, songs, crosswords, role play. That's perfect. Okay.
I've come across something that I didn't understand in the participation in the chat box. Someone typed cultural semiotic or something like that. His name is Abu Yusuf, I think.
We need more clarification for this technique.
Yes, if he's here, he can participate and share the cultural semiotic with us. We have Marwa. She would like to participate. Yes, Marwa, please unmute yourself.
Yes, Miss, thank you for allowing me. What I want to tell you is a very important point. Inside the classroom, I'm a teacher. So if I'm teaching vocab, I can adopt all these best actually kinds of providing us from the very beginning of the session, which has been actually very informative and beneficial. But I just want to get my students to perform some kind of self-study later on to learn for life. So if they are undertaking, for example, a self-study or self-paced course, how should they learn vocabulary? I'm not there to facilitate the whole thing or to provide the teaching aids like this or the activities.
Your voice is not clear. I can't hear you.
At this stage, level learners. Okay, all right, Miss. What I'm trying to say is that I have to tell my learners that learning vocabulary in a self-paced way, in a kind of self-activity, has to do with two major ways to learn vocab on your own. Actually, the use of the dictionary. This is also a good strategy to learn. If I don't have a dictionary, I can use the context itself. And yeah, this is the second way I have to tell my students to adopt later on if they are trying to learn vocabulary on their own. So again, there are lots of aspects of vocab that I have to tell my learners about. I have to tell them that there is something which is called the connotation and the denotation. Is the real meaning of the word, the actual meaning, but the figurative meaning. Some words have real meaning, the actual meaning, the literal meaning, the meaning in other the same word can have figurative effects on the listener, a joyful effect on the body, or a miss that she's slim or thin. So if one word.
I'm sorry, Marwa, but I think you are breaking up. Thank you for. We can't hear your voice clearly. Thank you for participating.
Offensive connotation, they have to know the compound nouns, register, lots of aspects that they are. I have.
I think sorry, Marwa, but you're breaking up. We can't hear your voice clearly. Sorry. Yes, we can move on.
Okay. we have here some techniques to increase the students' vocabulary skills, and some techniques which encourage students to work with themselves, to work as individually at home or even at school, to increase their abilities to use vocab, or to increase their vocabulary skills. Do you have any? Do you know any techniques that can be helping students to increase their vocabulary skills? Focus
have
today on
some
young learners.
answers
Young
here.
learners.
Put them in context. Reading bilingual stories. Crossword puzzle.
Yes.
Chunks. Collocation.
Perfect. Locations.
Give them new words in a sentence.
About techniques, activities, strategies.
Songs, idioms, drawing.
Learning in context, to read a lot. Songs. Searching.
Okay, we have here Heba. She wants to participate. Please unmute yourself, Heba.
Okay, hello everyone.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I want to say something about the techniques of teaching vocabulary. As we all know that there are many techniques, but choosing the techniques depends on the stage we teach students. So this differs from teaching students in primary schools, other than secondary schools or preparatory schools. If we teach younger students, we use songs, games, drawing, miming, flashcards, charts, and so on. But in higher levels, we can use synonym, antonym, definitions, explaining words through sentences, and so on.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
Heba. Thank you. Okay, we have some answers here. Balloon debate. I'm not sure what's balloon debate. Reflective circles. Digital tool. Environmentally related. Do you mean personalizing the activity? Realia or word cards? So the
focus of the question
for the techniques to increase student vocabulary skills.
Activities that they can do alone to help them to memorize new words, or to help them to use
to increase their vocabulary skills. Yes.
Songs and discussions.
Help them to be autonomous learners.
Okay. To focus. Let me say that the main focus of the session today is teaching vocabulary just for young learners. And you can adapt these techniques to be used with adults. It's a very, very good thing. But the main focus is young learners. But all the activities and techniques can be adapted according to your learning outcomes and your audience. It's an easy task to do this. So you can use all these techniques with adults, with young learners, even with kindergarten students. But you can adapt them according to the level of your students, the age, your learning outcomes, and how can you do this activity, and what are the instructions that you will give your students, the way of giving instructions. So you can adapt every single techniques to be more suitable for your learners. Okay, you can ask the students to create a vocabulary notebooks. You can ask them to create a vocabulary notebooks. Have you tried to ask your students to create a vocabulary notebook? Write on the chat box and write what can they write in this notebook? Yes, dictionary.
It is something like a picture dictionary or a personal dictionary.
Okay.
Yes, most of them say yes. They use comic strips, yes. Mind map.
Word web.
No, did you try to use the vocabulary notebook with your students? Yes or no? No. Okay, we have some yes, some no. This is a very effective way to encourage your students to learn more vocabulary by having their own vocabulary notebook.
Yes, you can ask them to collect the new vocab or the target vocab, to draw a picture of this word if they can, or they can collect images and photos to this picture. You can ask them to classify and write the form or which parts of a speech, whether it's a noun or a verb or adjective, adverb. You can ask them also to use these words in a sentence if they are young learners, or they are weak students, if they are intermediate or upper. You can ask them to write a paragraph or write 5 or 6 sentences using the same word. You can ask them to write the synonym or the antonym, so you can adapt the activity or adapt the techniques according to your students' level. If they are kindergarten or just little students from primary 1 to primary 3, you can just ask them to write the word, put it in a sentence or use it in a sentence, just draw a picture of the word or collect photos or images to this. If they are young, if they are older, you can ask them to write a paragraph, write a synonym or the antonyms according to their level. So you can adapt the technique according to your student level. This is for creating a vocabulary notebook. You can ask them to draw pictures, create charts to show how they use the word in a few sentences. Give them an opportunity to practice that word in a few times and reinforce its definition. You can ask them also to exchange these notebooks with their colleagues at school, with their partners. You can ask them to please share your notebook with your colleagues, or your partner, with your groups, to exchange ideas, to read more sentences, to find more synonym and antonyms, to know how to use the word effectively and correctly in a sentence. All these techniques and tips can be used in only one technique: create vocabulary notebook. So you have the freedom to adapt the techniques according to your students' level and age. Another technique, we have another technique here. We have make word cards. Make word cards, like this, something like flashcards. You can ask students to help you and create their cards to develop their ability to learn new words, each word. Students can write single keywords on separate blank cards. They will determine if that word's not the same. This is the same idea as the notebook, but in cards, to have cards for each word. So you can ask them to bring their cards for unit 2. Please bring your cards you have designed for unit 2 to revise or to practice or to drill. You can ask them to write a definition. You can ask some students to write the word and some other students to write the definition, and then ask them to join those with the term and those with the word and those with the definition. Where is the word? Any word, the word مثلا food, and where is the definition of food? Something we can eat or drink. Yes, and join together. Sit together or stand line by line in front of each other in 2 lines, the word and the definition. So you can adapt the technique according to your aim and according to your students' level.
We have here some ideas, like Rania Selim is saying, I usually ask my students to prepare the cards for the next lesson. Hane saying, show these cards in a gallery wall. This is interesting. Translate or read passage, make projects. This is what we call the multimodal project, which include lots of modes, not only writing. So
that's
the
perfect.
next,
we have the last technique, which is called paper flashcards, and this is related to the teacher somehow. You as a teacher create a word wall for the week. For today's week, we have for today's unit, for this week unit, we will create a word wall and ask your students to make paper flashcards with the new words and the definition, and display the flashcards for the entire class. Stick the flashcards on the word wall and ask students to look at them every day of the week for a week. You can ask them to go and read these words and definition daily. And you can give them 2 or 3 minutes at the beginning of your class while you are preparing your things and you're taking the register. Ask them to go quickly to the word wall and read the words and the definition, and I think it will be more effectively to memorize and to practice vocab. I think it will be a good idea to be tried. Any questions?
Okay, we can refer. Can we refer to Padlet to check the questions that we had on Padlet?
Okay, I think we have answered most of them. If you have any questions, please write them down in the chat box.
I just posted the form to the chat box. Please fill in the form with the name that you would like to be on the certificate. Please do not share the link of the form out of the session. And I am going to send you the link for the WhatsApp group soon.
Okay, we have here some questions. How to teach vocabulary for prep stage, especially while teaching a novel or upgrade levels. We have to talk about one technique or method to teach vocab for any stage, from kindergarten to adults. What is the best method to teach vocab? Inductive way. This is my favorite, and I think it will be more effective for students because they will have the understand the meaning of the words. They will repeat the words. They will pronounce the word correctly, and then they will find the word. They will see the words, the letters of the words after writing it on the board. In addition to asking them questions that are related to their conception, or how to be sure that they have understood the idea or the concept itself. How to make students memorize words meaning? You have talked about different techniques today. What is the simplest way to introduce difficult vocab? The same. Another strategy to teach vocab, we have talked about the inductive way and lots of techniques to elicit and to elicit practice and drilling and to help students improve their vocabulary skills alone. How can we teach vocab? What is the difference between teaching vocab as the main aim and as a sub aim? What's the meaning of main aim and sub aim? I don't understand this question, but I think we have covered all.
Sorry, Ms. Sohair, we have a question in the chat box. If I don't have much time to practice these techniques, what can I do?
You don't have much time to practice these techniques? Hell yeah. You need to practice vocab. You need to present the new vocab and practice them. No, I don't have idea about how can you, will you neglect practicing vocab? You cannot neglect practicing vocab. Vocab is the main core. If you teach reading or listening or writing, students need to have vocab to master these skills. So you need to introduce vocab and practice them. You can ask, you can help your students as much as you can to be familiar with these new words or with this new vocab. You can ask them to do activities at home, like to create or to design their word cards, to create their notebook, vocabulary notebook, and something like that. Any other questions? Please don't share the link of the form for certificate outside the chat box, please.
I hope you enjoyed our session today with Ms. Suhair. It was very beneficial. I learned myself, and I would like to thank you, Ms. Suhair, for being with us today. Sorry, it's a bit noisy here. And I would like to thank everyone who participated in our summit. This is the final session of our summit for Relo mentors. I hope you found all the sessions beneficial. We are going to be in touch on the Facebook and WhatsApp groups for further questions. So thank you all.